I remember when this statement was made, not as a question, it was a statement years ago. And I laughed when I first heard it, but I still hear it. I'm sure you do too. Is SEO dead? Hey everyone, I'm here with the one and only Trevor Mauch. He's a serial entrepreneur, marketing expert, and you probably know him as the CEO and founder of Carrot, a lead generation platform for real estate professionals. How you doing, Trevor?
Chris, I'm doing amazing, man. And I'm pumped to be on here with you because just like you talk about kind of mashing the two worlds together, investors and agents. And that's like one of the things, man, that I'm passionate about right now. So I love what you're doing.
Yeah, and even doing the intro, I was like, should I say investors and agents, or but we're all professionals. So left in there, real estate professionals. And let me start off with a fun question. I remember when this statement was made, not as a question, it was a statement years ago, and I laughed when I first heard it. But I still hear it. I'm sure you do too. Is SEO dead?
Dude, so here, it's a good question. In the internet marketing world, here's the thing, like SEO has been dead 12 times. Yeah. Every single year, it's going to be apparently dead. TikTok is dead. Instagram is dead. Facebook was dead like 6 or 7 years ago, and last year and 3 years before. You know, that just like with all of it, things change and things adjust. And I think the way that people were doing Facebook or SEO or any of those 5 years ago or 3 years ago, many of the methods that were being done, yes, are dead. The methods are, but not the platform. And so the way that I like to think about any marketing, and we'll talk SEO in this one specifically, is are there people still going to that platform? That might be people I want to do business with. And now the question is, how do I get in front of them the way that the platform wants me to, so they'll reward me with the end result? I can tell you that traffic is going up to our client sites every year, not going down through organic SEO. I can tell you that our clients are overwhelmingly dominating Google still today for any motivated house seller phrases in any city in America, Canada, South Africa, and Australia. And that's by SEO. And we're just doing it the right way. So gaming SEO and gaming Google is dead. Providing good value on Google the way Google wants it to is alive and well.
Yeah, and I think it boils down to marketers destroy everything because right. What's working, naturally, everyone's going to do that. Therefore, it's going to start working less and less. So the tactics change, but the overall method or the macro marketing sense, that doesn't.
And one thing that pops up for people too, Chris, where people say, "Oh my gosh, SEO is dead," and I've seen it in the real estate industry, I've seen it in others. Is they usually speak about it from the context of it's really, really hard now, right? Hey, Google made it harder. Well, here's the deal. Google still has to display search results for people. And then they've got these fancy things at the top that are called ads that you can pay to be there. Anybody can be there. Now that's a whole nother art and craft we help a lot of our clients with. But on the SEO side of it, man, it's all about content value and relevancy. It's like, are we building content that's valuable for the person, truly valuable for the person in whatever search they're making? And is it relevant to their search? And so as long as we're providing valuable, relevant content, dude, Google's going to keep rewarding us. And is it competitive? Yeah, it is. But dude, for competitive search phrases, I was literally on a call right before this with an invested agent, with one of the biggest agents in the country, or one of the biggest agents in Maryland, probably the biggest in Baltimore, CR of Maryland, big business. They also are an investor. They do about 6 or 7 million a year on the investment side of things. And they've got a big brokerage. And so they're in one of our programs, higher level programs. We were diving into the data, and he's coming back. He's like, they're getting about a 40x return on their SEO right now. 40x. Now you don't get that in year one.
No,
they're in their fourth year. Year one, you hope to break even, maybe double your money, maybe. Year two, it's a 2 to 4x. Year three, it's a 5 to 10x. Year four and beyond, if you do it right, they're getting a 40x return on it. So it works.
It has
amazingly.
A compounding effect when done well, and when you stay on top of it. I mean, it's not necessarily a set it or forget it. Although some things could be in a sense like. And this is a good transition here. Evergreen Marketing. So, and you've talked a lot about evergreen marketing, and that's for the best, a lot of the most successful agents and investors out there that if you utilize evergreen marketing, it ends up being a very cornerstone piece of their overall strategy,
Yeah.
and a huge piece in the whole sense of creating more value for the end consumer. So what is evergreen marketing for those who don't really understand what, or maybe this is the first time they've heard that term, and how does it differ from traditional marketing?
Dude, so evergreen marketing, the definition of evergreen basically is something that's perennial, kind of unchanging. And the way I relate it to with marketing is it's marketing I do one time and it works for years, not for weeks or days, right? Or even months, right? And so let's kind of look at the opposite of evergreen marketing. That kind of helps give context. The opposite of evergreen marketing is what I call hamster wheel marketing. And hamster wheel marketing, the beautiful thing about a hamster wheel, like if you picture the little hamster on the wheel, the beautiful thing about a hamster wheel is it gives you immediate feedback, right? As soon as that hamster steps in that wheel, it immediately starts to move. But what happens is eventually that hamster's got to get off the darn wheel because he's tired, right? Mm-hmm. And so the same thing happens with investors, same thing happens with agents when we're doing hamster wheel marketing that we do one time that has a very limited lifespan that you've got to do again and got to do again. So let's give some examples here. So one example of hamster wheel marketing is cold calling. Works amazingly well, right? So any of these marketing methods I'm going to talk about, they all work. And I'm not going to tell you guys not to do them. But what we have to recognize is, what do these marketing methods do to our lifestyle? What do these marketing methods do to our business? How do these marketing methods actually dictate what the structure of our business requires and the expenses we have in the business? So if you're to look at radio and TV, works really, really good for a lot of people. Okay. But you're going to be bringing in lower quality leads, and you have to have the radio and TV ads going all the time to make it work. That's cool though, because you do the work. It's like a hybrid. That's kind of between hamster and kind of between evergreen. You create it, and as long as you're paying the radio station, it's going to be up there. That's the same thing like with a Google ad or a Facebook ad. Okay. But with radio and TV, it's about 1 in 50 to 1 in 60 leads turns into a deal. Which means you have to sift through a lot of low quality leads. Okay. Now, if you look at cold calling, it's about the same, depending on the method, but between 1 in 50 to 1 in 60 leads on the motivated house seller side, if you're pulling a list, not like a warm group of people you already know. Right. Direct mail is about 1 in 30 to 1 in 40 leads into a deal, which means you got to sift through a lot of low quality leads in order to get that deal. Facebook ads for motivated sellers is about 1 in 20 to 1 in 30 leads into a deal. It's getting a little bit better, a little more targeted. Google ads, Google PPC is about 1 in 10 to 1 in 20 leads to a deal. And then on the SEO side, it's about 1 in 5 to 1 in 15 leads into a deal. And so the reason that I walk through that is on the hamster wheel marketing, oftentimes you're putting out a message that oftentimes is going to bring a lot of leads, low quality leads, got to sift through a lot. And I got to keep on picking up that phone over and over and again to do it. On the evergreen side, then I'll toss it back to you, is content that we put out there, or relationships, right? So relationships I see as evergreen marketing. That's you going out there, and it's hard at the start, right? Evergreen marketing does not give you the immediate feedback like hamster wheel marketing does. It takes time to build a bunch of relationships. It takes time to grow your rankings in Google and get the right content on there to where Google's going to recognize it. And it takes patience. But dude, once it catches on in 6 months and 8 months and 12 months and year two is where things really light up with any form of evergreen marketing, whether it's just relationship building and networking or online SEO. Around that 12-month mark is where the things start to pop. And that's where momentum hits. And you look back and go, man, I'm so glad I started a year ago. But at month 6, I was questioning whether I should do it because I didn't get a deal yet. And I've been investing into it every single month.
And it's hard to stop that momentum, right? Like if you do it right, not you just hacked it. You found a little loophole, which early in the internet days, that was easy to do, a little bit harder now. But if you're doing what platforms want you to do, and you've truly earned that status, that ranking, like first page ranking, top 3 searches, it's hard to really fall off of that, at least in a short period of time. Like, it's been a while since I've Googled this, and I'm not looking for motivated single family home sellers now today, but I remember doing the evergreen piece. I called it a cornerstone article.
Yep.
So I had this single article on a single topic that everything else would point back to, but it was basically a long form content. And this specific one was on how to do evictions in Fort Bend County.
Yep.
And it was a very step-by-step place, description of how that process works. And I think I searched for it even 6 months ago, and I was still on the first page, which I've done nothing, nothing with it. I'm not even looking for those kind of leads, but it's hard to turn that off, which is good because then you can build momentum behind it.
Dude, and that's the thing that's the thing with Evergreen Marketing. So everyone, you might be listening to this going, okay, that's kind of cool. I kind of get what Trevor's saying, but not really. Here's one of the benefits with Evergreen Marketing versus hamster wheel is, first of all, like I said, it's a lot of work up front, right? It requires work, but your workload goes down over time. But your ROI goes up over time. That's the only marketing method that you have where workload and investment goes down and ROI goes up and it skyrockets. Most other marketing methods, your investment's going to stay steady and your ROI could go up or could go down, but your investment's going to stay steady in those, right? You got to pay for the direct mail. You got to pay for the calls. You got to put in the time or hire people to do it. And with the way that I want people to think about it, the first thing is there's a mindset shift, is we have to kind of get away from always thinking about just what do I need to do to get leads and deals now, right? So many investors and agents are kind of stuck in that this quarter mindset. What am I going to do just this quarter to hit my goals and hit the revenue goals, which is great. But if we're always stuck into this quarter mindset, then what happens next quarter? Well, you didn't do what I call stacking the bricks. You didn't stack the right bricks to be able to build momentum. You're always on the income hamster wheel now as well. And then you look back in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years ago, man, I'm making some decent money, but I am wore out. And you can't go on those vacations for a month or take a month off because you have to keep the marketing going. Or you've got to keep on picking up the phone or doing whatever it is. So Evergreen is what we built Carrot off of. Carrot off of. We're an 8-figure a year business. And there's about 700,000 leads a year that come in through our system. The vast majority are Evergreen Marketing through Google searches and our motivated house seller leads.
So we talked about a few different examples of the traditional marketing, hamster wheel marketing, or more active. I'll add to it driving for dollars or door knocking. Those are a couple of other ways. Even texting, although it could somehow be automated, but still kind of it's a one and done. What are a few examples of Evergreen marketing?
Yeah. So Evergreen Marketing, the ways that I like to do it. So I'm going to take the offline Evergreen, which is relationships, and we're just going to set it to the side. We're not going to talk about that today. But that's really good too. We're just going to talk about the online side of it. And the biggest thing is there's 3 different types of content that I want our clients to create that are all evergreen pieces of content. They're all things that people are going to Google to search for. And if I can get my website in front of those Google searchers, they're going to be very, very highly motivated clients. Okay. And before I kind of talk about the specific types of evergreen marketing and content, I want to kind of highlight to people why evergreen marketing is really, really effective, more than just the lead to deal close ratio. I talked about that you're actually getting higher quality leads, and you have to go through fewer leads to close the same amount of deals. Once again, it could be 5 or 10 seller leads to get a deal, whereas then it might be 40 to 50 in another marketing method, which requires you or somebody to answer those 40 or 50 or 60 calls and sift through them, right? It's either you or an employee.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. You always pay for it in time or money. So usually people are trying to spend more time on the early on, but you could do both.
You should do both. You should. Yeah. Like in the short term. And that's something that I like to tell people is, while you're building that momentum with your evergreen marketing, you should be doing anything you can to build the business. Yeah. You should drive for dollars. You should, do direct mail if that works for you and your market. You should launch a Google pay-per-click campaign. It's not either or. The question is, what do you want to build the foundation of your business on? Something that is hamster wheel or something that's evergreen? I'm always going to build my foundation on evergreen, and then I'm going to add to it to grow scale with hamster wheel. So I'm not needed it. So the 3 types of content are this. Number 1, is all offline marketing you do creates online demand. Okay. So all offline marketing creates online demand. If you're doing radio ads, TV ads, if you're doing direct mail, cold calling, driving for dollars, open houses, whatever the heck it is, if you're doing any of those things, what happens is people see your company name on that postcard, or they heard about you from a referral from my friend Joe, and they pick up their cell phone and then they Google search your company name. And if you just have a normal website up there, a Wix site or a broker provided site, or something that is just your cousin Eddie got up because Eddie knows how to do WordPress sites, you're gonna end up you're gonna be online. But the question is, are you presenting yourself in a way that actually positions you better than the competition when people are going to start to weigh things in? So the first thing is evergreen content around your brand. You should have an amazing about page up there. You should get a video or pictures at the very least explaining who you are, and have really, really good reviews on the website. And not just any reviews. I want you guys to write this down. Is a lot of people use reviews as, I'm just going to try to get the biggest, longest list of reviews that I can. That's great, right? But we have to look at reviews in this type of evergreen content, evergreen marketing, in a very strategic way. Reviews only exist for one reason. Reviews only exist to eliminate objections and build trust. That's it. Eliminate objections and build trust. So we have to ask the question, what are the objections that I need to overcome on my website or in my marketing? And then to cater the reviews for eliminating those top 3 to 5 objections specifically. So if you're sitting down as an investor or agent and you go, well, what are the 3 to 5 reasons someone may not work with me? Well, let's say we're a wholesaler or a house flipper. Well, people might think I'm going to throw them a low offer. I'm going to lowball them. Or this person over here said that 2 investors backed out on them. So there's the trust of like, am I going to follow through on it? Or they might not know how the process works. And they're just like, is it real? You can buy my house that fast? Like, is that realistic? And there's probably a couple other ones. On the investor, on the agent side, it's like, why should I work with you versus my Aunt Sally, who also has a license and she's going to give me a cut rate? There's why shouldn't I just do a FSBO? Why can't the market's hot? Like, I'll just put it on the market myself, right? There's all these objections. And so you need to create some evergreen content of case studies, ideally videos, but written with pictures work well too, that literally the headline of it specifically speaks to each objection. And I'll give you an example. There was one I was working with that company in Baltimore, and we were going through modifying some of their testimonials that they'd gotten recently. And one of those objections is on the home buying side, the cash home buying side is, well, shoot, are they going to give me a lowball offer, right? Since prices have been high lately. So what we have, and there's an amazing testimonial at the top of it with a headline that says, they actually offered me more than I was expecting. And then they can go in and read the rest of that testimonial. It says, hey, I came in expecting this. They actually offered more than I was expecting. And the transaction happened just like I hoped. That's the first type of evergreen content, is reviews, testimonials, and about type of content, because that's going to be the very biggest issue with you closing leads and deals or not. Most people start on the opposite side of marketing. I always start on what's called the decision phase. So now let's move beyond the decision phase. The second type of content, the evergreen content, is evergreen content that brings you traffic, like extra leads, right? The core conversion type of content I just walked you through is not going to bring you any extra traffic of people who don't know about you. It's just going to help convert the traffic who already knows about you better. Okay. And so now the next type is what I call location pages. So if you were to go to Google and type up like homes for sale, insert any city in the country, right? You're probably going to find Zillow and then realtor.com and maybe like a Redfin in there, or like 1, 2, 3 in every city in America. If you go to Google and type up like commercial investment properties for sale, insert city, you're going to find loopnet.com at the top of Google for like every city in America. Okay. If you were to type up like sell my house fast or cash home buyers or we buy houses, insert any city in America, you're going to find Carrot clients overwhelmingly dominating Google in every city in America, Canada, Australia, and South Africa. And the reason for that is this: it's location pages. So when you do that search, it's not Zillow's homepage that ever ranks well for Google. It's, unless you literally type Zillow, it's a page they set up specifically for that location and that niche. It's a page specifically for homes for sale in this neighborhood with the swimming pool.
It's the long tail marketing versus short tail, just because, if you go too narrow, or not too narrow, too broad, I mean, you just get washed out.
Yeah, exactly. So what I suggest people do is after you nailed those core conversion pages and got that evergreen marketing in place that is building your trust and credibility for the long term, now we need to write down the cities that we do business in. So I'm going to be speaking mainly to the investor side of the business here. If you're buying houses or you want to start doing kind of the cash home buyer type of program as an investor or an agent, you're probably going to be mainly at the state and the city level. Okay. So if you're in Oregon, I'm in the state of Oregon, I would create a page on my website, or what we call an authority hub here at Carrot. I would create a page in my authority hub that is like sell my house fast Oregon, right? Or cash home buyer companies Oregon, like one of those primary keyword phrases. And then I'd have a good, robust amount of content on there. Now, what is robust content? For that type of thing, it's about 800 to 1200 words on that page to really have a chance to compete in that type of a keyword across the country. Now, this is what we do at Carrot, right? This is baked into our system. We make it easy. That's the reason our clients dominate for the seller searches. And then you would create your 5 or 10 city pages. So if I invest and I would buy homes in 5 different cities in Oregon, I would create a page for each one of those cities now, just like Zillow has. And they should kind of link together, right? Like my Roseburg, Oregon page should link to my Oregon page, and my Oregon page should link back to my Roseburg page. I know this is getting like a little techie. We dive into it in our training and do a lot of the work for you guys and some of the services, but just kind of walking you through this we reverse engineered what Zillow did, what LoopNet did years and years ago. We pioneered this on the motivated house seller side about 7 years ago, and it's crushing it. So that's the second type of evergreen content, is you get up evergreen content that's focused on where you do business and attracts the type of clients who are searching phrases in ways you can help them. If you're to look at the agent side or the buyer side, we have a lot of people using this for attracting cash buyers. Like one of our clients, Bo Hollis out of Louisville, Kentucky, simplysold.com, multiple 7-figure a year real estate investor. And he's a one-man show. Other than his videographer, he's a one-man show. He does like 3 or 4 million a year in wholesale deals. Jeez. And it's crazy. And so if you look at it, a lot of his deals right now are coming from hedge funds, and he's getting the deal. He's selling them to hedge funds right now. And people are asking, like, where the heck did you find these hedge funds, Bo? Well, he found the hedge funds with Evergreen Marketing. He launched a website on our platform that's a cash buyer website where he can list his discounted deals on there to sell. And it's optimized for a phrase like discount properties or wholesale properties in Louisville. And these hedge funds are going out there trying to find people with discount properties because they're trying to buy volumes of deals. They found the website, they opted into it. They gave him a call, and now that's how he locked down 2 of his hedge funds, was with getting a page ranked high in Google for discount properties or wholesale real estate in Louisville. So you can do it with buyers, sellers, everything. The third type of evergreen content or evergreen marketing, Chris, is what I call authority content. So the first part was building trust and credibility on our core conversion pages. The second part was location or niche focused pages like Zillow does. That casts a wider net and brings in new traffic that's hyper motivated prospects. The third type is like, once someone's on our website, how do we continue to build that authority? And how do we use this to attract us even more, attract people to us even more in the niche phrases? So I'll give you an example. So let's say that you're an investor or an agent, and probates or inherited properties are like one of your favorite types of deals, right? So you can, if someone inherited a property, I'm in Birmingham, and I'm like, how the heck do I sell this property I inherited? I might go to Google and type selling a property I inherited. How do I sell a property I inherited? I might type selling a property I inherited in Birmingham or something like that. Well, if you were to search that phrase or any phrase like that, selling a property I inherited or selling a house I inherited in Birmingham, you're going to find probably 3 or 4 Carrot sites controlling the top of page 1 in Google for that phrase. And you're going to find in many cities across America for divorce sales, for probate, for all kinds of other niches. And that's done with blog posts or what I call a video post. And that's where we look in those cities we invest in, or we look in those cities we're doing business in as an agent. And we say, what are the niches I would operate in where I can create content that's going to be evergreen? It's going to be as relevant today as it is, or as relevant in 2 years as it is today. And then I'm going to create articles on it. Ideally, the articles are, around 800 to 1,000 words, because that's kind of what Google needs to see to show it's robust enough to get good rankings. And then you post one a week. Now you probably like going, I don't have time to write articles. I don't want to write articles. That's all the stuff that we do for you. Like we automate that, or we have a tool that's called video posts, which I don't write articles anymore. But what we do is I record videos, and then we take the videos and transcribe the videos, and we yank the words out of them. And that's another, dude, that's a great way for people to do that, is you take your 3 to 8 minute video on, hey, this is Trevor in Birmingham, Alabama, with XYZ Realty or XYZ Home Buyers. If you've inherited a house here in the Birmingham market, you might be wondering, how can you sell that property? What's the tax situation going to be like? Do you have to list it on the market? Well, I'm going to answer those 3 questions in this video and show you how you can sell your property that you inherited here in the Birmingham market. You kind of talk through that for 5 minutes, upload it to YouTube, and then you can bring it into a tool like we have at Carrot called Video Post, that imports your video in, yanks all the words out of it, and writes a blog post for you.
And that part, just speak on that part a little bit, because I talk about that all the time.
Yep.
That can be done on the job, meaning you don't necessarily have to, maybe you do, but you don't have to set apart hours of your week to do that. You're going on an appointment, or you're looking at one of your houses you're doing a rehab on or whatever. And hey, everyone, Chris here. I'm on this property. I'm meeting with my contractor. We just bought it last week. He said we got termites. I missed it. He's going to show me what to look for the next time I see it. Those kind of things. Yeah, you can do it.
Dude, and it builds connection, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's the thing. So people are probably going, oh man, another thing to do. Right. So let me kind of break it down on the Evergreen side. You have to have a really, really performance driven website to make this work, because there's Google wants to see things set up in a certain way. They want to see websites load fast. They've said 2.5 seconds or under is the optimal page speed. And that's what we focus on, being the fastest websites in the real estate industry. We've tested that way multiple times. The next thing is the content structure, like how the actual website's laid out and how the pages are and how the pages on your website link together. That's very important. And it requires you to learn a lot of SEO knowledge. Well, that's the stuff we just like bake into the tool. But then the third part's the conversion, is making sure that the website's structured in a way to where on a cell phone or on a desktop, it's actually set up to convert that prospect into a lead at a very, very high rate. Because when you do, those are all little indicators that Google looks at to go, man, this website's high quality. It's loading fast. The content's quality. It's laid out in a make sense way. And the people are actually visiting multiple pages and becoming conversions. And those are all little indicators to help your website rank higher. And like I said, that's very techie stuff, but that's the stuff that we just take care of for our clients. And when you do it correctly, guys, this is kind of the vision here is, yes, it's going to take work. One of our clients, Tyler Ford, he's a hybrid agent investor, and he's an EXP agent as well down in Tucson. And he calls it the 261 formula. And he's doing an amazing job with Carrot and with Evergreen Marketing right now. He does about $10,000 a month in commissions, 100% from Evergreen Marketing, from videos on YouTube, and then cross-push them on his Carrot agent site. And then he does about 3 to 6 deals a month on the investor side, averaging $15,000 to $20,000 a month, or $15,000 to $20,000 a deal profit, 100% Evergreen. But it took a while to build it up. Yep. So 261 formula is this: is the first 2 months, you're going to work your butt off. Okay. Like it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of work. So it's either you're going to do the work and we can guide you, or you pay someone to do that work. Right. So it's going to be a lot of work getting that authority hub set up and getting the pages set up right, and get your location pages and doing the other things that you need to do to amplify things in Google. And then during that time, is exactly like Chris was saying, you should do hamster wheel marketing, do driving for dollars, do direct mail, pick up the phone and call, do anything you need to do to get revenue coming in. And then around the 6-month mark, when you're doing it right, that's when we see the first little kind of blip up there. You might jump from page 4 or page 5 in Google for Sell My House Fast Cincinnati or whatever. But then you jump up to like the top of page 2 or bottom of page 1 around month 5 or 6. Before that, dude, it's like purgatory. You're just going, I'm doing all this work. I'm working my butt off. I'm getting no result. And that's when most people give up. And that's the exact time you shouldn't. And so then you might get your first lead or two around month 6 or 7. And then if you keep doing the right activities, things start to pop between month 11 and 14. And year 2 is where the magic happens. And so the 2 The 2-part, lots of hard work, working your butt off, probably 3 to 4 hours a week in the first 2 months, or you hire it out through services. And we have those services, or we can guide you to great people. You get your first jump up around month 6. I call it the ranking sprout. Google, you now have enough time in Google's database. They go, man, I see this site. I've compared it to others. It's quality. Let's bump it up there. And then around that month 10 to 14 is when it keeps on going up there. And you should start to close the first deals. Hopefully, we have people closing deals way faster and some that take a while longer. And then year 2, 3, and 4 is where the magic happens. So that's the point you get to freedom, guys. That's the point where, like Christina Kudlock, one of our clients out of Phoenix, Arizona, where she built her business cold calling for 2 years. And then she built her Evergreen machine. It's mrspropertysolutions.com, MRS. She's in Phoenix and LA now. And now she only does Evergreen Marketing. She hung up her cold calling phone for the final time about a year ago. And now she's traveling the country, and she still does multiple 6 figures a year only with Evergreen Carrot leads. And she doesn't do any cold calling anymore.
Yeah, it's truly revolutionary. Like you said, it does take time. It takes effort. But when done right, that effort becomes less and less over time.
Yep.
And inversely, your lead generation and your conversions will go up over time. So that's what makes it beautiful and worth it. Well, you've given a ton of value here. I know your time is valuable, so I don't want to keep you too much longer. We have a couple quick questions that we ask everyone. If you could give your 20-year-old advice, and we're both young here, so it's not too long ago, but your 20-year-old advice, self-advice, what would it be?
I think the biggest thing, man, is like, don't get so focused on the outcome, but like really enjoy the journey, because as I've grown as an entrepreneur, it's very, very easy to get focused in on the goal. Right. And you guys have probably heard this before. I was in Costa Rica. It was 2010. And I had a chance to watch a guy named Sri Kumar or something like that talk. And he talked about something called the if-then complex. And he said, so many of us get stuck in this gap mentally where we go, if this happens, then I will finally be X. If this happens, then I'll finally be happy. If this happens, then I'll finally be fulfilled. And I can tell you that anytime I've hit any of those financial goals, thinking that the clouds were going to part, the angels were going to sing at the $1 million mark, or, a year, or the $1 million a month mark, I've hit both. Life didn't change at all. Like, life did not change at all. And I didn't become magically happier because of that. And I think sometimes I've gotten stuck in the outcome and not enjoyed the journey as much. So enjoy the journey, and outcomes there for motivation, but not for validation.
Yeah, it's funny that Mike Rowe comes to mind there. It's like, just learn to love the process,
dude. Yep.
And Gary Vee talked a lot about that too. And then everything becomes a lot easier.
Yep.
What book or books have greatly influenced your life?
At different phases of my life, I've had different books. So, as I've grown as an entrepreneur, you have to learn different things. In the early days, it was all marketing and psychology stuff, right? And then it was like branding and that kind of stuff. And now it's leadership stuff and team building. So if I were to go all the way back though, I had a chance to have this author, Bob Berg. He was on, and it was The Go Giver. I absolutely love The Go Giver book. It's simple. I think it should be like required reading for every human being or every kid in high school or college. And it's such a simple concept that changed my life early on, because I was so focused on getting mine. When I got out of college and I gave myself a year to become an entrepreneur, I was just trying to get mine. I was trying to like get enough money to pay my bills, not have to go get a job after that year. Where things changed is when I read that book, and I'm like, you know what? It's already not working trying to get mine. Like I'm not making any money. What if I just go out there and just offer my services for free and just help other people and learn? And then maybe I'll make some money. Dude, as soon as I just became a go-giver, everything changed.
I've heard that book a lot. I've yet to read it, but I think after this call, I'll put that on the Audible list.
Yeah, it's simple. I'll give you one more too. I mean, there's a lot of them out there. This one's very tactical. I'm not going to say it's probably not as applicable to most people on here, but it was really impactful for me. But it's called The Great CEO Within. It's by a tech a tech entrepreneur guy. It's not a popular book, but it's amazing. It's like so tactical. I mean, it's like literally 3 sentences of you should do this in this situation. So the great CEO within. And then the third one, this one goes back to 2010 or 11 for me. And I had a chance to have Mike Michalowicz on our podcast a couple of times, the pumpkin plan.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us can relate to this. You have multiple opportunities going on, multiple, pans in the fire. You think you're doing all these great things because you have all these awesome things going on. And in the end of the day, you're not doing any of them great. They're all mediocre. And that happened to me in 2011, 12, had way too many things going on. They were all mediocre. I was burnt out. And the pumpkin plan changed the way I looked at everything and helped me trim down to one thing. That one thing became carrot. And still today, I just focus on one thing. I don't have multiple businesses that I'm actively working in or anything. I own other businesses, but I do nothing in them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pumpkin plan's amazing.
Yeah. And that author, he's got several great books.
Yep.
What new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life? Maybe you just answered that, but
yeah, I'm going to go back to the thing I said in the first one. I think as a high achieving entrepreneur, it's very easy to be in the gap. A book I read called The Gap and the Gain recently by Dan Sullivan really talks about that. And so this has helped me a lot. Anytime I feel like I'm in this weird, like mental funk, anytime I feel like I'm driving to the office, it's a beautiful day and family's great. And I'm like, why do I feel like this? We have an amazing business. I'm making insane amounts of money. My family's healthy. Why do I feel down and defeated right now? Because we missed a goal back here, right? And when I recognize that, I recognize I'm in the gap. And so the mindset is recognizing that when you're in the gap, and then how you change it is focusing on the gain. You say, okay, rather than me being in the gap, let me focus on how far have I come? How far have we come? Where was I a year ago? Where were we 5 years ago? Oh my God, I'm in like a dream situation right now. Why the heck am I?
Right?
Yeah, dude, why the heck am I feeling this way? So I'll pull from that daily. Like literally that's a daily thing where I get in it. It could be a 5-minute moment or it could be like an all day thing. Go, what the heck? Like, why am I feeling this? It's a manufactured fake feeling it's a real feeling, but it's a fake thing that I created where I have this pressure to hit this goal. I made the darn goal up and the goal doesn't even matter, right? It's like gap in the game.
Well, I think that's very insightful for people to hear you say that, because if anyone that has followed you, you're obviously very successful. You got a great company, but they see you where you are now, not where the journey you've been on. Yep. But you're like invincible now. Just like people would look at maybe an Elon Musk or a Grant Cardone or any of the great entrepreneurs or athletes or whatever their day, but they're all human.
Yep.
They just happen to be really, really good at their craft, but they all have normal human traits. They all have funks that they go through. Now, if they're celebrities, it may get broadcasted, but not everybody's like that. I never want to be like that, but in any case, we all had that thing. And so, because I relate to that, like, I get in that funk and, I've having to go back in perspective and seeing like where I've come, where I'm going, and worst case scenario, it's like, man, look, there's like 1 billion people who don't even have running water in their house.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. Like what kind of what I've gotten, what I've gotten to, and I've learned this from people over the years is as long as you're wanting to grow, right? As long as you're wanting to grow in whatever area, it could be financially, it could be fitness, it could be relationally, spiritually, and whatever it is. As long as you're wanting to grow, you are naturally creating a gap. You're saying, I am not where I want to be in this area of my life, right? And so we can immediately solve being, feeling down about ourselves if we just stop wanting to grow, right? It's like if we have no ambitions to grow financially, the gap is gone, right? All of a sudden, like peace comes to you. Everything is all right and everything is how it should be. If you don't want to improve your health, which everyone should, but then the gap is gone, right? I'm not saying that's I'm not
yang, right? It's the ambition with contentment.
Exactly. And it's healthy to have both. That's the thing is I don't feel humans were put on earth to just be. I think we were here to create. We were here to create and connect with people and add value and not just subtract the value. So I think it's a healthy thing when we get in the gap. It's not a healthy thing to stay in the gap. And that's where I think we have a lot of entrepreneurs burning out or wondering if the entrepreneur dream is real, is we're not going back and having the gratitude to think of, well, shoot, look at this position I'm in and let me be grateful for it. One last thought on this, Chris, is you'd kind of mentioned, well, shoot, you know, where you are, Trevor, or where guys way ahead of I am, they all feel it. The difference between an entrepreneur making 300,000 a year and an entrepreneur making, you know, let's say 30 million a year, or, you know, whatever the number is there might be some skill sets they learned along the way, like hard skills, but mostly it's they learn how to deal mentally. You know, they learn how to learn the right next set of skills at every 3 in 10 things break. At $100,000, there's a different set of skill sets you have to learn to get to 300,000. At $300,000, there's a different set of skill sets to get to $1 million. And then you have to delegate different things. At $1 million to 3 to 10, it's different skill set. And then you delegate different things at each level. And so as long as you can see that map and know that at 3s and 10s, you're going to have to grow, then you can then start to kind of feel like you figured that you haven't figured the game out, but you at least know the game board's in front of you. It's like, okay, I know the game now. Now I just have to figure out how to get through this.
Love it. Love it. Well, appreciate it. You know, you've given a lot of great content and tactical advice, but really from the mental advice, which, you know, that probably kills more people. By kills more people, what I'm talking about emotionally and drive and their vision and ultimately giving up on their goals. That last bit really, I imagine hit home for a lot of folks. So really appreciate it. How can folks reach out to you?
Dude, Instagram, I answer all my IG DMs in there. So Trevor.Mauch, that's Mauch. We have our podcast, the Carrot Cast. So carrot like the vegetable, we're carrot.com if you guys want to check out what we do. But Carrot Cast, and every Thursday, dude, like that mindset stuff, that's what I do every Thursday. I'm on my cell phone. I call them Trevor Truck Talks. I take out my phone, and on my drive home, I talk and I do a 10 to 15 minute podcast episode on entrepreneurship, on mindset. And Tuesdays are interviews with clients. So check out the Carrot Cast, find me over there, or find me on IG. And y'all, if anyone wants to learn how to get more evergreen marketing, right? Like if you guys want to learn, how do I hang up the cold calling phone forever or add to it? Or is my website converting and performing like it should? Just hit us up. You know, we'd be happy. Even if you don't become a Carrot member, we're always looking to add value to people's lives. And in any way we can help, just let us know.
Yeah. I know quite a few folks who've had ton of success with just working with you, your team, and with Carrot. So appreciate it. We'll, you know, if you do want to check out Carrot more, we'll put a link in the notes below. Definitely check them out. And thanks for watching.